Welcome to the update on the TMG Total Compensation Redesign implementation originally presented in March 2020. The TMG Total Rewards Program is approved by the President and Vice Presidents, Remunerations Committee, and the Board of Governors. This governance model was followed for the recommendations developed by the TMG Total Rewards Redesign Subcommittee. The elements of the total rewards being presented today are subject to ongoing review and approval by PVP, the Remunerations Committee, and the Board of Governors. The redesign initiative came about in response to feedback obtained from focus group meetings where TMG were asked their views on the total compensation program. Based on the feedback that was shared, the President and Vice Presidents committed to a review of the total compensation plan design for TMG. The TMG Redesign Subcommittee and working groups were established, and they undertook the review and developed 30 recommendations to enhance the program. The implementation of recommendations has taken place in 3 phases. We have provided updates to TMG throughout the development and implementation. Through the process of internal and external review, exploring how members of TMG are currently compensated, and reviewing best practices, the goal of the review was to revise the program to ensure it is contemporary in design, is sensitive to the needs of members of TMG and the university, and strengthens our ability to attract, develop, engage, and retain high-caliber leaders that are critical to the university's continued success and will strengthen McMaster's reputation as both a premier educational institution and a key employer in Hamilton. This review was an excellent opportunity to look closely at the program and the recommended changes to the design that will continue to position us well for the future. During the review, the subcommittee had the benefit of working with external consultants from Mercer, and their assessment was overall we already had a very strong program in TMG. The feedback from the focus groups were grouped into the 6 themes that you can see on this slide. In their review, the subcommittee used these themes as a guide in the development of the recommendations. This slide highlights some of the key items that were introduced in each of the phases. For today's session, we're going to focus on the changes that were introduced in Phase 3 of the implementation. The recommendations called for the development of a philosophy and policy and revision of the compensation guidelines. These were developed by the university, and we're going to highlight some aspects that as an employee in TMG, you may be interested to know. The philosophy and policy are both new, and the guidelines for cash compensation is a revision of the existing TMG protocols and guidelines for salary administration. The philosophy translates an organization's vision, strategy, and values into a framework that guides the design and decision-making of the Total Rewards program. It's an aspirational view and guiding principles for our program. The policy outlines the Total Rewards program provisions and documents the rules and practices of our Total Rewards program. The guidelines outline the norms to be followed and provides application information. The policy is designed to be used with the guidelines for cash compensation administration for employees in TMG. The philosophy statement retains our foundational elements that have been core to the program for TMG for many years: pay for performance and salary ranges targeted at the 60th percentile of the defined market. The Total Rewards philosophy for TMG is inspired by the ideals and guiding principles. We encourage you to review the philosophy and see how McMaster's program aligns with these principles. McMaster utilizes a total rewards approach, providing a competitive and salary benefits package, along with programs that support work-life, development and career opportunities, and performance and recognition. The policy outlines the Total Rewards program provisions. It documents in a policy many of the rules and practices which we have operating. There are some changes and new elements. The policy is designed to be used with the guidelines for cash compensation administration for employees in TMG. The policy provides the rules and the guideline provides the application information. This slide summarizes the type of information included in the policy: definition of market competitiveness, salary range structure and definition, responsibility of management, establishing salaries for new hires, job transfers within TMG, and reevaluations of a TMG job, controls and approvals required, and the variable pay programs, performance excellence programs for TMG in bands F through M, and variable pay plan for TMG in bands N through Q. The guidelines outline the norms to be followed in a revision of the existing TMG protocols and guidelines for salary administration. The guidelines address establishing salaries, initial hire to TMG, internal job transfer within TMG, and job reevaluation. The guidelines also address temporary salary adjustments, additional duties for a temporary time-limited period, and temporary growth and development appointments, annual review of salaries, and variable pay programs, performance excellence programs for TMG in bands F through M, and variable pay program for TMG in bands N through Q. We'll provide more details on these items as we go through the presentation. In the policy, you'll see how McMaster aligns to market for TMG. The salary ranges are targeted to the 60th percentile of the defined market, which varies by band. The variances by band are generally reflective of where we compete for talent. For those of you that have been at McMaster for a while, you'll know that the labels for the salary range structure have been modified at times. As a part of the redesign work, they have been updated again and are reflected in our policy. We think these are simpler, clearer, and easier to understand. The policy defines the rules. For example, if someone transfers to another job within TMG and the new job is a bantam or higher, it's a promotion and a salary increase is indicated. The norms for the salary adjustments are outlined in the guidelines. The policy demonstrates whether a salary increase is indicated based on the type of change for job transfer within TMG, and the guideline shows the amount of increase or other provision that is applicable for the outcomes that can result from a job transfer within TMG. In the case of reevaluation, the policy outlines whether an increase is permitted based on the type of change. The guidelines for cash compensation administration for employees in TMG outline the norms that are to be followed. The policy and guidelines also detail opportunities where TMG can take on additional work that is at a higher level, additional duties for a temporary time-limited period, and temporary growth and development appointments. Salaries of TMG are reviewed and subject to adjustments during the annual salary review. The review normally occurs in June of each year, with increases effective the first day of the first full pay period in July. Increases are in the form of merit in keeping with the pay for performance philosophy and are allocated based on the merit matrix, which factors in employee performance and position in the salary range. The performance and annual review cycle begins with objective setting in September, a mid-year review in January, a year-end performance review in June, and the annual salary review in June and July. The relevant inputs from the redesign work that apply are the TMG Achievement Program, the Merit Matrix, the calibration process, and merit groupings. This is the merit matrix that was used in the July 2019 annual salary review. You can see that it uses the TMG Achievement Program ratings of outstanding, successful, and achieving. TMG on a performance improvement plan aren't included in these ratings and therefore are not eligible for a merit increase. The Performance Excellence Program and Variable Pay Plan are new pilot programs that were introduced and communicated in 2019 with first potential payout in July 2020. We think of these as partner programs as they are similar in purpose. The Performance Excellence Program is for TMG in bands F through M, and the Variable Pay Plan is for TMG in bands N through Q. It's important to understand that these programs are intended to recognize exceptional performance results. Only those meeting the criteria will be considered. Not all members of TMG will be eligible to receive a payment. Individuals may be awarded a payment in some years and not in others. Payment amounts will vary based on specific contribution and the degree of success in a given year. Receipt of a Performance Excellence Program award in any year is not a predictor of receipt of subsequent awards. The value of the individual award should reflect the level of achievement relative to the eligibility criteria. The Performance Excellence Program for TMG in bands F through M is designed to reward truly exceptional performers who are clearly leaders amongst their peers and have noticeably excelled in their performance over and above what would normally be expected in their role. The assessment criteria for this program are: delivers exceptional results by building trust and credibility among stakeholders, initiates or actively participates in broad strategic initiatives that have delivered results which contribute to the advancement of McMaster's strategic goals, actively participates in McMaster's project initiatives and or committees which are external to the TMG members' normal role, which address university goals, and participates at a level that demonstrates potential above and beyond the scope of the TMG members' normal role. grows and demonstrates leadership capabilities that are at an exceptional level and which facilitate university objectives, builds positive relationships, promotes and encourages others while engaging in collaborative projects and university activities, seeks out opportunities to engage in community initiatives that are complex in nature and are in support of the university's goals. The Performance Excellence Program applies to members of TMG who are incumbent in positions that have been evaluated in bands F through M. Employees in university advancement who participate in similar variable pay plans are not eligible to participate in this program. To be eligible for a payment from the Performance Excellence Program, the recipient must be in their role for a full performance cycle from July to June. Recipients must be actively employed by the university on the date of the payment. Nominees must have completed their annual performance review and received a rating of outstanding. Here's how the program will work. Assessments to be completed concurrently with the annual salary review. There's a one-page recommendation form. The awards may not exceed $1,500 for bands F through I and $2,000 for bands J through M. It is paid as a one-time lump sum payment subject to applicable taxes and deductions. The departments are responsible for the cost. The program will be administered by Human Resources, who will provide departments with information and guidance for this program. A simple recommendation form has been developed. The applicable assessment criteria are to be checked, and a brief description of the exceptional contributions are to be provided. In the next slide, we'll walk you through the process in more detail. Here's how the process for the Performance Excellence Program works. 1. Concurrent with the annual salary review for TMG, the department head reviews the Performance Excellence Program overview and identifies eligible employees who qualify based on the program purpose, eligibility, and assessment criteria. The department head completes the Performance Excellence Program payment recommendation form and submits it to the Dean or AVP for consideration. 2. The Dean or AVP reviews the Performance Excellence Program payment recommendations with the department head. The Dean or AVP may accept, amend, or reject recommendations received. 3. The Dean or AVP will sign those recommendations that they are approving for further consideration by the President or Vice President and submits the recommendations to Human Resources Services Total Rewards. 4. Human Resources reviews the Performance Excellence Program payment recommendation form submissions to confirm that the overall payment recommendations do not exceed the amount allocated to the President or Vice President, and forwards the recommendations and information about the overall payment amounts to the President or Vice President as applicable. 5. The President or Vice President reviews all recommendations submitted for their area. The President or Vice President may approve, decline, or adjust any payment recommendations. The President or Vice President will forward the recommendations to Human Resources Services Total Rewards for payment. 6. Human Resources will provide copies of approved Performance Excellence Program payment recommendation forms to the Dean or AVP and will arrange for payment of approved recommendations and will confirm the Performance Excellence Program award payment to the employee, also copying the Dean or AVP. The variable pay plan for TMG in bands N through Q was designed to reward truly exceptional performers who, through their involvement in activities within or beyond the scope of their position, directly advance the university's strategic priorities. The assessment criteria for this program are: delivers exceptional results by building trust and credibility among stakeholders, advances the university's strategic priorities, leads or co-leads strategic institution-wide projects or initiatives that are aimed at delivering advancement of the academic or research missions of the university, revenue growth, administrative efficiencies which have broad cross-university impact, exceptional improvements to service levels, advances leadership in equity, diversity, and inclusion, provides exceptional leadership and expertise to design, develop, and implement transformative change, promotes and actively facilitates collaboration and partnership with colleagues in cross-university teams that are delivering university objectives that are outside the scope of the incumbent's role. TMG and bands N through Q are eligible. Employees in university advancement who participate in other variable pay plans are not eligible. Employees must be in their role for a full performance cycle from July to June. They must be actively employed on the date of payment, and nominees must have completed their annual performance review and received a rating of outstanding. Here's how the program will work. Assessments are to be completed concurrently with the annual salary review. There's a one-page recommendation form. Departments are responsible for the cost of the program. Total Rewards will administer the program and the payments are to be processed by the Human Resources Service Center. Maximum pool is $150,000 per year and distributed to each of the president and vice presidents on a prorated basis reflective of employee salaries. Awards may not exceed 3% of base salary, and they are paid as a one-time lump sum payment subject to applicable taxes and deductions. A simple recommendation form has been developed. The applicable assessment criteria are to be checked, and a brief description of the exceptional contributions are to be provided. In the next slide, we'll walk you through the process in more detail. Here's how the process for the variable pay plan works. 1. Concurrent with the annual salary review for TMG, the department head reviews the variable pay plan program overview and identifies eligible employees who qualify based on the program purpose, eligibility, and assessment criteria, and completes the variable pay plan payment recommendation form and submits it to the Dean or AVP for consideration. The Dean or AVP reviews the variable pay plan payment recommendations with the department head. The Dean or AVP may accept, amend, or reject recommendations received. 3. The Dean or AVP will sign those recommendations that they are approving for further consideration by the President or Vice President and submits the recommendations to Human Resources Services Total Rewards. 4. Human Resources reviews the variable pay plan payment recommendation form submissions to confirm the overall payment recommendations do not exceed the amount allocated to the President or Vice President and forwards the recommendations and information about overall payment amounts to the President or Vice President. 5. The President or Vice President reviews all recommendations submitted for their area. The President or Vice President may approve, decline, or adjust any payment recommendations. The President or Vice President will forward the recommendations to Human Resources Services Total Rewards for payment. 6. Human Resources Services Total Rewards will provide copies of the approved variable pay plan payment recommendation forms to the Dean or AVP and will arrange for payment of approved recommendations and will confirm the variable pay plan payment to the employee in a letter while CCing the Dean or AVP. We are excited to tell you about the new Rewarding Our Leaders overview. We've designed it to be a great reference for the TMG Total Rewards program. You can read about the program and also link to more detailed information on specific topics. It will be available on the website soon. Total Rewards Statements. In 2019, we were able to launch our first Total Reward Statements. Benefits of Total Reward Statements are the improved understanding of the Total Rewards provisions, and they help to highlight the value of the employment relationship. The Total Rewards Statement is accessible through Mosaic. It will show you the total value of McMaster's contributions to your total compensation and includes information about benefits, retirement plans, professional development, and other benefits. Total Rewards Redesign Status. In today's session, we've highlighted some of the recommendations that were implemented in Phase 3. You can find more information about this initiative on the hr.mcmaster.ca website, including a status chart which summarizes progress on all of the recommendations. But we aren't finished yet. There is more work to come on the career frameworks for McMaster. There is lots of information and resources you can use in the My Career section. You can also read and be inspired by some of the stories of some TMG colleagues and how they've achieved their career success at McMaster. You can also link to current opportunities from the site. We're still working on the career pathways portion and hope to add more information in the coming months. Work on the job descriptions is also underway as we continue to work to ensure that job descriptions are updated periodically. We're also planning to see if we can create some generic job descriptions that could be used for TMG. Lastly, the Redesign Subcommittee will continue to meet periodically to review how the new programs are performing and to determine if any refinement is needed. For more information about the Total Rewards program for TMG and the Redesign initiative, please refer to the website shown on the screen.